Hi everybody, welcome. Thank you for joining me for another Crafting with Kimberly. Today we are going to be making a paper quilt based on some of the information that you learn in Lauren's video on quilting. So make sure you've watched that first. We are making it with paper because that is what we have, or I have around me, and easily accessible. And that was really common even 100, 200 years ago when women were making quilts. Many times they would make a quilt with scrap pieces of fabric or something that they had nearby and that was easily accessible. So this craft's going to be a little bit different because I need your help to finish it. So basically what I'm going to do today is I am going to be making one square for a quilt, and then I am going to ask you to make a square as well and share your square with me so that I can make one big quilt that we're going to hang up at the Vance Birthplace. So there are a lot of different ways you can get your quilt square to me. You can literally send me the quilt square that you make if you're okay with parting with it. You can mail it to me, and the address for the site is in the description below this video. You can take a picture of it, a close-up picture, and email it to me, which is also in the description of the video. If you have a scanner, you can scan it and send it to me in an email as well. So there are a lot of different ways to get me this. One thing that I will tell you is when I put them together, so when you start making your quilt square and decorating it, make sure that you leave a little bit of room around the edges because I'm probably going to end up having to punch a few holes to attach the pieces together. But what I will ask you to do is when you're done, on one side of your quilt square, write your name and maybe let us know where you're sending it from, a little bit about you if you're willing to do that. So when we do this, we need to make sure that we're all starting with the same size square so they go together well. My piece is 8 inches by 8 inches. So you can use really any paper that you have around the house. I just had some scrap white paper that I cut down. I used a ruler and just measured 8 inches by 8 inches and cut it to that size. You can also pull pages from magazines. I have a coloring book here, so you can pull a page out of a coloring book and cut it down to 8 by 8 inches, so just pull it out. But you need to make sure that it is the right size when you start. So basically I'm going to decorate it now, and I've got all kinds of different supplies here. I've got obviously my glue. You can glue things to it. If you don't have glue around, you can tape things to it. You don't have to attach anything to it. You can literally just decorate it with crayons or markers. I've got some fun tape here that I'm gonna probably use on it. And I'm actually gonna use these same magazines and cut things out of the magazines to attach to my quilt as well. For example, I was flipping through this magazine and I found a page that has a picture of strawberries and a heart design that I thought was really pretty. So I'm going to cut that out and put it on my quilt. I've got some other just scrap pretty paper that I liked that I might do something with. Another thing that I did before I started was I actually cut a piece of paper down to 8 by 8, and then I folded it up and cut a snowflake, and now I'm going to use it as backing. So that's another option you can do. You can take it and you can fold your paper up really any way you want and cut things into it to make it a pretty background. So I am going to get started. Okay, so I am done with my quilt square. I'm pretty excited about it. Basically what I did is I took that snowflake that I had cut out of construction paper earlier and put it in the background just because I love wintertime and snow and I love purple. purple, so the idea of a purple snowflake makes me happy. I also used a lot of tape on it that I had around with flowers on it, but if I didn't have that around, I would have just probably used my crayons and drawn flowers on my square. I also found some things in magazines that I had around the house that I like. One thing you'll notice in the middle of my square is a squirrel. I am originally from Raleigh, which is the city of oaks, and so I put a squirrel on my square in the middle. I also love strawberries, and so I found these strawberries in the shape of a heart, which I thought was pretty cool. And pizza is my favorite food, so I put that on here as well and found that in the magazine. And then I wrote all of that on the back in purple, because again, purple is my favorite color. And so what I'm going to do now is I will be punching some holes around the edges, and as soon as I have more squares, I will start putting the quilt together to hang up at the Vance Birthplace. So feel free to send me your designs, and thanks for joining me today.